One afternoon at our local skate park, a tiny kitten caught my attention before I even realized why. She wasn't running around or hiding like most stray cats. She was moving carefully, favoring one of her little legs, taking slow, cautious steps as if every few feet took extra effort.
She has a problem in her foot here. Something's wrong with it.
There weren't any other cats nearby, no sign of a mother, and she looked far too young to be out there by herself. I stood there watching her for a minute, thinking about how easy it would be to keep walking. Instead, I picked her up and took her home. I didn't really have a plan, I just knew she needed someone to help her.
Yola, you ready? The kitty already out, all cleaned up, huh?
The first stop was the vet. They examined her leg, gave her medication, and told me it could be an old injury or possibly a nerve problem. At least I knew she was finally getting the care she hadn't had before. Those first few days at home had me worrying more than I'd expected. She barely drank any water, so I started mixing water into her food to make sure she stayed hydrated. I'd find myself sitting nearby while she ate, quietly making sure she finished enough. Looking back, I probably worried about her like any first-time parent would.
Hello. Hello, cutie.
What surprised me most wasn't how small she was or how quickly she settled into the house. It was how easily she trusted me. I'd always assumed stray cats would stay nervous around people for a long time, but Nemo never really did. Almost from the beginning, she'd curl up beside me, nap nearby, or quietly follow me from room to room. Somehow she seemed to know she was safe, and before long, having her around just became part of everyday life. Without noticing when it happened, I slipped completely into what my friends jokingly call cat dad mode. I started picking up little blankets, toys, and treats whenever I was out. Later, I bought one of those pet backpacks with the clear window so I could bring her along on short trips outside. After everything she'd been through, I wanted her to experience more than just the inside of the house. She absolutely loved it. She'd sit in the backpack watching cars roll past, people chatting on the sidewalk, and dogs barking somewhere down the street. Nothing seemed to scare her very much. She was simply curious about everything happening around her. Then one day she did something I never expected. She jumped onto my shoulder. I never taught her to do it. She climbed up there once, seemed to like the view, and decided that was her place. Now, there's a good chance if I'm walking around the house, Nemo is perched on my shoulder like she belongs there.
Need to go out, huh? You are? Come on, you. Oh my goodness, it's so cute.
She has plenty of little habits like that. If I head out of my room without giving her a kiss on the forehead first, she'll stop and stare at me until I come back. The second she gets that little forehead kiss, she's perfectly happy again. I never trained her to expect it. Somehow it just became our routine, and now it feels strange if I forget. I found Nemo when she was about 2 months old. These days, she's almost 3 years old, and August 20th has become her birthday in our home. Somewhere along the way, she stopped feeling like a pet and simply became family.
Hello. Are you good? Yes?
My mom swears Nemo always knows when I'm about to get home. Before I even open the front door, she's already waiting. I still have no idea how she does it, but every single time I walk in, she's there. I pick her up, cover her with kisses, and she starts purring against my chest. After a long day, those quiet moments are usually the best part of coming home. When I think back to that afternoon at the skate park, it's amazing how ordinary it seemed at the time. I saw one injured little kitten, decided not to leave her there, and that simple choice slowly became part of my everyday life. Now it's impossible to picture the house without Nemo following behind me, sitting on my shoulder, or waiting by the door to welcome me home. I never expected such a small cat to become such a big part of my life, but somehow she did, one quiet day at a time.